Revised floodplain maps for Washburn County were on display for the public Tuesday night, December 6th, at the Ed Elliot Building in Shell Lake. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources hosted the event in cooperation with the Department of Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
I'm Gary Heinrichs. I'm the Floodplain Planning Program Manager for Wisconsin DNR.
And what's going on tonight here in Shell Lake?
Well, we're in Shell Lake to introduce the new preliminary Washburn County floodplain maps to the citizens and local officials in the county. So we had an open house for the local officials, city, village, county staff this afternoon. Now we're having an open house for the general public this evening. These are preliminary maps. We took the old data from the 30-year-old maps and we're trying to rectify any mistakes with the floodplain boundary lines. We're adding photographic background so you can see structures on the maps and determine whether your structures are on the floodplain. We're digitizing everything so the county and the communities can take the digital floodplain lines, and as they get updated parcel layer data or better topographic data or new ortho photos, they can overlay the floodplain lines on that updated data so they can provide residents, property owners, better idea of whether there's structures in the floodplain or not. So these maps may be revised as we receive comments from the communities about incorrect street names or stream names or new studies that may have been done, new topographic data that might be available. Typically, after open house, it takes about 6 to 8 months to produce the final maps, and then we'll be working with the communities, the cities, villages in Washburn County to integrate the new floodplain information into their zoning ordinances.
So now so we're looking at Spooner Lake here, and what are we looking at exactly?
Well, the green this is a zone AE lake where we have an elevation. I can't read this without my glasses. Looks like 1023 maybe.
Okay.
I can't read it. So there was an elevation on this lake altogether. So we didn't do a new study. We're staying with the same elevation, but we're fixing any problems with the boundaries around the lake. The green line here is the edge of the floodplain. This dark color, of course, is the shoreline of the lake. As you can see over here, which is probably a wetland complex, the floodplain totally encompasses, which is probably just a bog, this little Spooner Lake, I'm guessing, and all this area here. So nothing changed much here. Another interesting panel is 429, the south end of Spooner Lake, where a berm had been placed at one time in the past, and so you see there's a gap in the floodplain boundary here. This is the Yellow River, flows out of Spooner Lake. There's a dam right here, and so they built up around this dam, created a berm. So they actually created a high spot. You can see there's a spot that's out of the map floodplain, just a little narrow band.
Right.
So the floodplain of Spooner Lake and the floodplain of the Yellow River here. Okay. Now, another interesting thing is, as I said, Spooner Lake is a zone AE, which means it's a zone A with elevations on the map. Downstream of the dam on the Yellow River, it's a zone A, so there is no flood elevation. Okay. So if someone wanted to build in the floodplain, they'd have to do an engineering study to come up with a base flood elevation for the Yellow River, because Wisconsin regulations require that the house, the first floor of the house, be 2 feet above the flood elevation.
Okay.
Christy Hanselman.
And you're with the DNR here?
I'm with the DNR, working on FEMA floodplain maps for Washburn County.
And what do you have here? You have a computer here, and what is this again?
This is a computer with ArcGIS, so we have the digital files for the preliminary floodplain maps for Washburn County. And what we have here is a red line, it's kind of hard to see probably,
No, we see the red line. I can see
is the old, or actually they're the effective maps. So the maps that are in effect right now, we digitize them.
Okay.
And that's the red line that you're seeing. So then we took the digitized line work, we brought in the USGS topographic maps, which have 10-foot contours. So that's everything in the background here, and these brown lines are the contours. And then we adjusted the digitized line work to the contours, so it's slightly adjusted. Everything you see that's kind of greenish blue in here is the new line work. So in this area, for instance, if we determine that this lake was 1027, let's just say, and this contour, pretend, is 1030. If we knew the lake was 1027, the contour was 1030, we then brought in the line work so that it would fit It would be adjusted to the contour. So that's why it would be brought in
Oh, okay.
down to here in
So-
this area.